My dad passed away when I was 20, and I feel like that's when the roles started reversing with my mom and I. And hi, I'm Barbara, and I'm the main caregiver for my lovely mom who is 91, has Alzheimer's, and actually lives in the same house as us. And I just wanted to share a series, which this is episode one of many, that is when roles reverse. And it's like my all coming from my book that I wrote, because I wrote a book I wish I had had when I started entering all of this, the sandwich generation, and feeling like I had no idea what to do when. And so my book is like a roadmap, and this series will cover kind of what each chapter covers. I just wanted to get deeper, have you get my essence and my energy and my story. Just, I love longer form content. So hello, YouTube. I am so happy to be here. And please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And also like the episode, because this shows the algorithm and shows it to people that really need it. So my goal is to get in front of so many people in the sandwich generation so they don't feel alone, and I can give tips and real life advice that's worked for me thus far. And I think not feeling alone in this huge chapter of our lives that no one prepared us for is one of the best things we can do. So if you could do that, I would so appreciate it. And yeah, my losing my dad was the hardest thing I had been through. I was 20. I was in college. I was like clueless, and it just was this huge thing. I'd never had anything. It's like I didn't have those life muscles to prepare me for something that you couldn't just get over. I think the worst thing that happened to me before my dad passed away was when a boy that I really liked broke up with me. And then you just kind of healed from it. But this was like a whole standstill. And one of the hardest parts of it was that I was 20 and no one else was losing their parent. I was totally alone, totally isolated, and no one could relate to me. So it was really scary. And not only that, but when you're lose someone in a family or you're grieving, even when your parents still here, you're grieving that they aren't the parent, they aren't the person that they used to be. You'll start to see your siblings. Everyone just acts differently. It's like you're talking different languages, and you're kind of looking at each other like, what? You're like in go mode, and I'm in denial mode, and you're all just coping in your own way, which there is no wrong way. But what was hard for our family of four, when my dad passed away, it was just the three of us. And I found that anytime we were together, the three of us, it was super painful because it was so obvious that my dad wasn't there, and it was too hard for us to be together. So not only did I not have friends that could relate to me, I really didn't feel like I had my family either. My mom was lovely, but she was going through things. I mean, we were all just in a really bad place. So I chose the path of sharing things in my later years, because I don't want anyone to feel that isolated and that alone, because it's a very scary place. And I went to therapy. I'd never had to do that before, and thank God for therapy. It really help let out that steam on a boiling pot of water of emotions, that is, and gain those muscles on how to actually learn and deal with that. And it's huge. So if you've lost anyone and you're feeling this way, I'm sending you the hugest hug. It is so huge. There's so many phases to it. And it's just, even when my friends lose someone, I'm like, I've been through it. It wrecked me. It put my whole life in a blender and put it on crush or like smoothie. And it was like poured out. And I was like, how do I put this all back together? And I still don't know what to say to people because it's just so much. It is so heavy and so much. So sending you so much love if you're going through anything like this. But that's really when the roles started reversing with my mom. My parents are older when they had me. And especially back then, way back then, I'm 49 now. So it was 49 years ago. My mom was 42 and my dad was 49 when I was born. I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be like me having a kid right now. Oh, that'd be crazy. Anyway, and so I really entered the sandwich generation before a lot of people. I was dealing with aging parents a lot sooner. So that's kind of why I'm on the forefront of all this and like to share about it. So what we lived in Southern California for my husband's work, and we're from Oregon. And so when COVID happened, we were really realizing that my mom was needing more help. And we were also looking at like a lifeboat from the universe or life, just saying, hey, if you've ever wanted to move home, this is your opportunity to raise our kids there, everything. So we took the opportunity, we sold our house, we moved back to Oregon. And we quickly realized how much my mom was actually needing. She had expired food in the fridge. She's so put together and always kept a clean house, but she looked disheveled. She had stacks of things everywhere. It was like dusty. You could tell her house was becoming too much for her. And also she was getting really nervous at night. She thought she heard people knocking on her door, and she was starting to have the conversation with us that she was wanting to downsize or move to a retirement home. And also there was one day where, so when we moved back, we lived 20 minutes from her. And there was one day one of her neighbors called and they're like, she's not answering the door. We're really nervous. Is she okay? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I packed the kids in the car and I was like, oh, I'm so nervous to drive to her house. What will I find? And I'm like all prepping myself up. I pull out of my driveway and thank God her neighbor called and they were like, she actually was at the store and she was gone for so long because she couldn't find her car. So all these warning signs that we were needing to step in on a major basis. And thank God my mom was so self-aware that she was like, didn't want to drive anymore. And I really do believe that COVID, because of the shutdown, they're out of their routine. It really aged my mom faster than it would have been. But I was just grateful that we were in town. And so we decided she wanted to move to this retirement home, this wonderful one that was a mile away. I kid you not, a mile away, where like most people from this 55 plus golf community moved to this retirement home. So she felt comfortable. She'd know people there, which made me happy. And I was like, she'll feel safer. She will have community, built-in community. She'll just walk down to the dining hall. Anyway, so I was the point person because my brother, who's 9 years older than me, he lived at least an hour and a half away. So I was the one who was helping downsize her. I'm going to do an episode solely about downsizing, but because holy cow, moving someone that's lived in a house 20 plus years is a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot of storage. There's a lot of stuff. And what happens to your parent, or at least what happened to my mom, is like this stare, this. They're just like overwhelmed and they can't make decisions. It's too much. It's all their stuff. They're like, I don't know what to do. Keep it. And I'm like going through all her clothes. Anyway, so I will do an episode about downsizing. So I won't get too much into it, but it was a lot. And even the move itself. And I was pretty darn proud of myself because we were moving that large mile, but I had a friend take her to lunch. So she was busy for 3 to 4 hours. And I was like, okay, movers, in this 3 to 4 hours, we got to get our key things into this room that make it feel like home. So I really like orchestrated that. So when she came into her new place, she did feel like it was home. She had some decorations, all this stuff on her couch and all. So we did a good move. I do have some good tips for that. But it's a lot. It's a huge thing. And it was so cute because the retirement home, they have their rooms and then downstairs is the dining hall. And I get my mom all settled, get her bed made, and I'm like showing her where everything is. And I go to dinner with her that night in the dining area. And it's a lovely retirement home. And then I was like, okay, you're going to be okay. Here's the phone. Here's my number, all the things. And completely like I felt like the mom. And I felt like I was leaving my kid at college and being like, you good? Are you going to make any friends? Like, are people going to sit with you? Do you know what to order? All this stuff. So I went to dinner with her, but I was like all nervous. I'm looking around, like trying to, and some people were talking to us and introducing themselves, and they were so lovely, so lovely. So anyway, I called her in the morning. She went to bed. I went home. I called her in the morning and she didn't answer. So I'm like, oh, she must be down at breakfast. Hopefully she found someone to sit with, la, la, la. So finally she calls me back and she was like, there was a table of 5 and they had one extra seat. And I asked, hey, anyone sitting here? And they're like, no, it should be you. And so she just sat with them and had the best time. So it's just great that the integration to the retirement home was such a smooth thing. And she was so happy and she was really involved and social and felt safer. And so it just really made me happy, but it was a lot to still, I would come and visit in 20 minutes without traffic. So I would have to time my visits and to make sure that I could be there. And then also I was finding myself when I was visiting, I was like, doing her laundry, or I was tidying up, or I was taking out the trash or going through the mail. So still doing these things that I had been doing at her house. And I felt like that it wasn't quality time visit. It was just me visiting and having to do, which made me kind of sad because I'm like, I barely have time for a meal to sit down with her. And then when we sit down, it's with other people, unless we got a two top, which was weird. So it was okay, but she seemed happy. And then a couple months later, I started realizing she wasn't as good on calling me or answering her phone. So that got really hard. And so I would have to call the front desk, and she was in independent living. So I would call the desk and be like, "Is she okay? Have you seen her?" And they're probably thinking, "You don't pay for this service. She's independent living. She hasn't clocked in or clocked out. She has not left the premises, so she's here." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I know she's there, but is she alive?" And that does not come with independent living. So it's just kind of this hard adjustment for me to not have access to her. And even though I knew she was in the building, I was like, did she fall? Did all these things? And she had a button to push, but I'm like, is she wearing the necklace? All this stuff. So I found that she was not going down to the dining hall as often. And so and then I talked to one of the directors there at the retirement home, again, wonderful retirement home. And the woman said she knew my mom pretty well, and she was lovely and knew all the residents. And she was like, yeah, I think your mom's kind of slipping a little bit with cognitive challenges and stuff. And I was like, oh gosh. And I was kind of realizing it, but again, probably in denial and didn't want it to be the case. And so, but especially with her not going down and eating, I'm like, and not taking her medications. So we had to kick in a medication management thing there at the retirement home. And even with that, I was like, is she drinking enough? Is she getting all the meals? And then I talked to that woman, the director there, and she was like, well, maybe she needs more of that memory care. And I just seen the memory care, how expensive it is. So expensive. If you can do it and you need it, awesome. It would have been a stretch for my mom. And also, I just felt like her freedoms were not as much. Granted, someone would be checking in on her, but it was just a lot. But we decided to get her a proper diagnosis, or just to be checked out. So her primary care doctor got us a referral to a neurologist, and those wait times are a lot. So make sure, even if you have sometimes their primary care can do the test, but make sure you just get on the books, because it could be like 6 months to a year out. And I said, please put me on the cancellation list. That's a total hack. Cancellation list came up way faster than 6 months. And so we went and saw the neurologist, and unfortunately he did diagnose her with Alzheimer's. And I wasn't shocked, but I touched on it a little bit in another video of mine, but it was honestly very similar to when my dad passed away. It was one of the hardest days, because I'm sitting there as my mom's main helper at the time, and he's telling this heavy, big diagnosis, and my mom's not really understanding the gravity of it. And I just held her hand, and it makes me teary eyed. But on that day, I just was like, okay, like, I'm going to make the rest of your life the best it can be. I will do the best I can as your daughter, who you've raised so well, because you've given me everything. You've done everything for me. I am going to do everything I can for you. And so, and the neurologist pretty much was useless, like diagnosis. And then I'm like, what do I do? And there was really nothing. Again, feeling completely alone. And none of my other friends, their parents just hadn't been at that stage yet. And so I walked away from that going, okay, we're just going to do what we can. I'm going to research, I'm going to Google till 2 a.m. and see what I can do for you. And, but that's when we really decided that we needed to move my mom closer to where we are, because it was 20 minutes without traffic, and I needed to check in on her more. And we looked into retirement homes out here, but again, the expense, and realizing even with the medication management that I kicked into place, no one's going to take care of your parent as well as you can. Granted, I don't suggest this for everybody, but my husband suggested that we move my mom in with us. I would have never imagined that my mom would live with us, but our layout is pretty awesome for it. We added onto our house. The old master is downstairs, and then our bedroom master is upstairs. So we have total autonomy. My mom has a separate entrance if needed for care, all the things. So we were like, if this doesn't work out, no big deal. We're just going to try it on and see how it goes. So it's actually been good in many ways because I can check on my mom anytime I need to. I don't need her to answer the phone because with Alzheimer's, it- God help, the phone management was impossible. And my mom needs medication. She needs help with, not wearing the same thing every day, laundry, upkeep, but it's not like she needs nursing care. So I am her main caregiver. We have been so fortunate, and I've talk about her all the time on social media. I'm at Barbara Strat or at the Sandwiched Jen on Instagram, and I share a lot there. But Sally is my mom's. We call her a companion because my mom just needs someone to talk with, so I can work and get out. And I say that they go on field trips, and it has been the best dreamy situation because I lucked out because when I was moving my mom in, I was kind of like, my God, how do I do all this? How do I do it all? And my friend said, oh, my aunt is an adult sitter. That's what her title was. And I was like, I didn't even know this existed. But when you talk about what you're going through, it's amazing what comes into your world. Had I not talked or shared my concern or worry with a friend, I wouldn't have known that a Sally was out there. So I lucked out. We got Sally. Sally started 1 day a week with us, and now she is with us like 6 days a week, 4 to 5 hours a day, and it is the best thing I've ever done. And it's just huge. So I want to share what I've been going through, what's helped us, what's been like really helping my sanity, helping my own family unit with my mom living here. Granted, we are in such a unique situation with her living here. I don't suggest this for many people. Again, our layout provides this, and that we have a Sally provides this. Because if we didn't have a Sally, my mom would probably be in a retirement home, but close by, so I could see her and share my tips on finding a retirement home. There's so many resources and people that I know that can help you find the right retirement home if you're at that stage, that are of no cost to you. As senior living specialists, they go by many different terms, but I have a wonderful one here in Oregon. And what's great is that you just tell them, you and your parent tell them your needs, and then they help you like figure fine fine tune which ones to visit, and they do all the legwork for you, and they actually get paid from whatever home or living situation your parent ends up in. You don't pay for them out of pocket. How awesome is that? It's like there's so many wonderful things and so many tips I've learned along the way, the good, usually the hard way. And so I just want to pass them on. And so again, subscribe so you don't miss any of my episodes. My goal is to release one a week, and just want to share real life in the sandwich generation, and really when roles reverse series that's based on my book. You can get my book on my website. That is, the link is below, but it's the sandwiched gen.com. And on there I have my blog, I have all my resources, and my book, and how you can book a care chat with me one-on-one if you're just needing to unload and just have me hold space for you, which is so needed. And also if you need a guidance session and you're like, my parent fell, I don't know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, I'm lost, I save you time, energy, and money, and I come up with a plan for you, and you do it in intake form. And our call is pure, like handling your situation, your unique situation. And so you don't have to do all the Googling and researching and losing your mind. And I've developed everything that I wish I had had. And so I can support others and just save them their sanity. And so make sure you like and subscribe. And so other people that really need this content can discover it. And that's how they do, is the algorithm likes all those buttons. So please push them. And so we can share this with others, because my hugest thing is I don't want anyone to feel alone in this huge chapter in our lives that we were not prepared for and had no idea was coming. So I hope this story, if you found yourself in it, if you relate to it in any way, of just when those roles start reversing with your aging parent, and just kind of how you arrived there. But as of right now, my mom is here living with us.